Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Librarian California, where today's video is going to be a book review of the graphic novel Speak. Now, originally it was published in 1999. The author is Laurie Halse Anderson. It was published by Macmillan Publishing. Now, this book is 376 pages. It was published on February 6, 2018. And these illustrations are by Emily Carroll. Now, again, why did I pick this book up? I was in a mad hurry to just grab all the books I could in my library in case we were going to be locked out for a long time. But more specifically, I saw this book and I was like, oh wait, I know that author. There she is. I know that author. So a few years ago, I was at a conference and I knew that one of my fellow librarian friends was unable to attend, and she was like, oh my God, one of my favorite authors is going to be there with her new book, and oh my God, I'm so upset I'm going to miss her. And just happened to tell me that. And so she didn't expect anything, didn't think anything of it. And I was like, I've got time. So I stood in line and waited to get the new copy of her book autographed to my friend, and I was just going to surprise her and send it to her. So when I was up there, I want to say, if I remember right too, that the line was predominantly women. And I got up there, and they sometimes can see your name badge. They can, you put a little sticky note on there about who you want to autograph to. And I had put, Sarah, and that clearly wasn't my name. And so it was like, who's Sarah? And I was like, oh, my friend Sarah, she's a librarian. She loves you. She says you're amazing. And she told me you're coming out with this new book. And she was so upset she couldn't be here. And so I thought I'd surprise her with this. And she was like, oh my God, I love that. I love librarians. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm becoming a librarian. So anyways, she was super nice. She was great. She wrote it out and I was able to surprise my friend. I personally didn't know her work, didn't know anything about her. So when I recognized the name and I was like, oh, that woman was so nice, I'm just gonna grab her book. And also, I've been on a graphic novel kick over the last year. So I thought, oh, this will be good. So I had no idea what the book was about. I had no idea at the time that it was actually an adaptation from something published earlier in the late 90s. And so, who cares? I'm a librarian. I read lots of different things. If you've seen my videos, you'll see that I read all over the place, and that's okay. And so it's a very eclectic taste, but I have different reasons why I read different books. So anyways, this book, wow, this is a tough book. This is a rough book. So many of you probably know about it if you're looking at this video and you saw that, but I didn't know anything about this book. I did know that author is often challenged, has like censorship challenges against her her books, particularly this book too. So I did know there was something about it, but anyways, basically the story is this girl gets raped the summer before her freshman year, and her rapist is still attending the high school that she's attending. And she's basically an outcast, ostracized by the school. And this is basically a story about how she deals with that and how she eventually uses art to help begin to heal. So it's a very serious book. It's a very serious topic. It's very well done. The illustrations just like really add to the story. It's really good. And so I can see why that same friend who had, I got that book for, I had seen on Goodreads that she had given it 5 out of 5 stars. Like I could see, this is it's a good book, but it's a tough book. It's a sad book. It's a book about rape. It's a book about people not believing you. It's rough. So I will definitely give that warning. It's a rough book. And I will say it was from the beginning, as soon as you open up the book, you find out that the author wrote this book in the late 90s because she was dealing with having been raped herself when she was 13 years old. So this is like heavy right off from the beginning. As soon as you read like the first page, you're just like, whoa. So again, I didn't know what going into it, but it's great. It was written beautifully. It was illustrated beautifully. It's horrible and sad and tragic and also uplifting and in some ways, and there's a lot going on in there. And so I think, if you're interested in this topic, if you're interested, in sexual violence and listening to people and believing people and trying to, find ways to help people, support people, understand, people. You never know what's going on inside of somebody, or why they might, be acting a certain way, or why they might just be having a rough time. So anyways, it's a great graphic novel. It's, again, an adaptation of the original from the late 90s. That's also called Speak, but I'm glad I read it. It was a good book. I'm glad, especially when some authors are so nice. Not all authors are. I've met a lot of authors, and some are wonderful and some are just like, ugh. She was wonderful. She was amazing. I love it when she was like, I love librarians. And I also appreciate that she was like, oh my God, this is great that you stood in this line to get your friend a copy of this book. I love that too. So I don't know. I'm just glad I picked it up. I'm glad I recognized her name. I'm glad I read it. It's a good book. But again, it's rough and it's tough. It's tough subject matter, but it's still a good book and I'd still recommend it. So anyways, that's it for today's video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. As you can see, I do a wide variety of books on this channel that I'm reviewing. So again, my taste and sometimes why I read books are all over the place. Sometimes I'm reading for work, sometimes I'm reading for different aspects of my job, sometimes I'm reading to review things for gifts for people, or just a wide variety of reasons why I read different books, and try to have a wide range of things that I read. So anyways, if you like graphic novels, this is definitely a good one I'd suggest too. And again, keep on reading.